acne truly
Mm.
is an external symptom of an internal issue, right?
Mhm.
Acne isn't a skin issue. It's a body issue. There's things going on inside that need to be fixed. And so this is why slathering on all of the lotions and potions and serums and creams and medications, that's more of a Band-Aid approach, because what happens when you stop those things? The acne comes back.
Hey fans, if you're watching on YouTube, this is one more episode being filmed in my childhood bedroom, a little bit of a different background for you to watch. I'm so excited for our guest today because, in full transparency, when her PR agent reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to talk to a nutritionist about skin health?" I was kind of like, eh. And then I was paused for a moment. And I was like, wait a second. Athletes can have skin issues like acne. Women care about their skin health and acne and preventing or healing from acne. Why wouldn't I talk about this? I know that your nutrition plays a role in acne. So let me talk to an expert on here. And I'll also say this, I feel like in my journey as a dietitian, I've heard a lot of things of like, oh, dairy causes inflammation, gluten causes inflammation, get the toxins out of your body. And you're going to hear that come up in today's episode, but listen to the episode all the way through and you're going to know that, okay, it's not this blanket statement that dairy causes acne. That's not true. Dairy doesn't cause acne. But for certain people, that might be something that reduces inflammation and helps their skin heal by reducing or eliminating for a certain period of time. It's such an individualized journey, and you're going to hear that if you give this whole episode a listen. So hey, this is true in any regard with nutrition. People make these blanket statements such as dairy causes acne. Y'all know, if you're listening to the podcast, I had a dairy farmer come out on the podcast a few months ago, Tara and Natalie, dairy farmers, cattle ranchers, about all the amazing things of dairy, right? So you got to take all this information and apply it to your life, what you're dealing with. And if you're dealing with acne as a female or as a female athlete, give this entire episode a listen. You're going to learn a lot and you're going to get some tools and resources for where to start, maybe get some help. She even drops a few products when it comes to things like being sweaty after a workout and not having a chance to shower. So you might want to look into those products. And of course, if you are an athlete, you can reach out to me for support with female athlete nutrition. And if you really want to attack this acne piece specifically, you might want to reach out to Katie and her team. They have a 6-month program that addresses it. And I'm super excited to share this episode with you all. So go on and take a listen. And as a quick reminder, we talk about hormones in this episode. If you're looking to optimize your menstrual cycle, hormonal health, reduce PMS pain, there's even some ingredients, I didn't bring it up in the episode, but there's some ingredients in the Wave by products that help you regulate and optimize your menstrual cycle health. There's some ingredients in there that I believe can even help with PMS related acne, as we touch on in this episode. Then head to waveby.co and use the code Lindsey Cortes for 15% off your order. I talk about it all in episode 229, and I chat with the founder about the ingredients in her products, and I'm a user myself. Lindsey Cortes, Lindsey Cortes, Cortes, for 15% off of Wave By to menstrual cramps and period pain. Go ahead and take that supplement, that information to optimize your hormonal health, your reproductive hormonal health, combined with what you learn from Katie today about optimizing hormones for skin health, and then work with me to be your sports dietitian. And you've just got the whole package of health here. So go on, take a listen. I'm excited. All right, fans, thank you for joining another episode. We have a guest today, Katie Stewart. She's a registered holistic nutritionist and founder of Katie Stewart Wellness, where healthy skin starts from within. Before launching her wellness brand, Katie spent 14 years in television, working with Hockey Night in Canada as an on-air location host for a lifestyle magazine show. But behind the scenes, she was quietly battling stubborn acne that no cream or cleanse could fix. Determined to find answers, Katie went back to school to study holistic nutrition. What she discovered changed everything. Breakouts are often a reflection of what's happening inside the body. That led her to develop the 5 acne-clearing pillars: gut health, detoxification, hormonal balance, emotional well-being, and nourishing skincare. Today, Katie and her all-female team walk clients through the Clear Skin Solution, a 6-month program combining personalized nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle support to help women feel confident in their skin again. She also hosts the Clear Skin Chronicles, sharing expert insights and stories to empower women from the inside out. As a podcast host herself, Katie uses her platform to share her story and inspire women to reclaim their health and confidence. Acne once dominated her life, but by taking control, she turned it into a force for good, empowering women to glow from the inside out. Katie, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Lizzie. Lindsay, I've been looking forward to being here.
Yeah, I thought this is wonderful. The Female Athlete Nutrition Podcast, and athletes and women can struggle with acne. So
Absolutely.
I love, anybody can struggle with it, right? And so I thought it would be so great to have this conversation. And I think there's a lot of things we're going to hit on. But one of the first things I just wanted to chat about is because you're Canada-based and I'm US-based. And so just kind of terminology, you went back to school to study holistic nutrition. And I just kind of wanted to understand what that process was for you, because you've got lifestyle in here, you've got skincare. What does in Canada, rules and regulations are different in every country, and this podcast reaches globally too. What does that study and training look like from a holistic nutrition standpoint?
So I went to the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition, and it was a 2-year diploma program. I ended up having to do it over 3 years because I unexpectedly got pregnant with my son. So I extended that, and it was a 2-year program, and it really encompassed all things holistic. And when we hear the word holistic, we have to remember that it means whole: mind, body, spirit, soul. So we're looking at the body as a whole as well. We're looking at nutrition, we're looking at supplementation, we're looking at lifestyle habits, mindset. It's not just about the food. It really is looking at the entire picture of the person.
That's great. And see, here in the US, where my credentials registered dietitian, that registeredness, you think of like registered nurse, or, it's like got more of that medical practitioner side. So my coursework, where some of the fault is that we're in this like medical field, this treatment, this disease state mindset. But what I've done since then, which is, one thing, how do we treat diabetes? How do we treat cardiovascular disease? But in my role as a sports dietitian, what I really got in my master's and then on my own is really recognizing we can't just look at these things clinically. We have to look at them holistically. So you have that holistic training, I have that clinical training, but really everything comes together. And so, what I didn't learn in school, I've had to learn on my own. And I love getting to chat with people like you who had that different training and skill set and bring a different, angle to health.
Yeah, we have dietitians here in Canada as well, very similar to the US, more Western medical treatment of specific disease based, where a registered holistic nutritionist is going to be taking that more holistic approach through looking at the body as a whole. So it's very similar. It's just, I find dietitians are a little more like Western medical trained.
Medical trained.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's just different input, right? Like one is not better than another, maybe for certain people, certain scenarios. They're complements. They're so complementary too. And we have so much to learn from each other. Yeah. And I just wanted to share that because of your journey and how it was like you had this career and then it's like, you were struggling with your own acne and you were on TV at the time, which must have been really challenging, a personal thing. So it's like, I want to fix this. I want to heal this. And did you go back to study holistic nutrition just because, or did you go into it with that intention of this could be better for skincare? Or was it through studying it that
interestingly enough is, like I said, is I was working behind the scenes of Hockey Night in Canada, and that's our version of Sunday Night Football. It's one of our biggest national broadcasts. And then I was working on air on an HD camera every single day. And I was at the time in my career where my producer was like, okay, Katie, like you need to pick a specialty. I'm like, well, I work at Hockey Night, but I actually don't like sports. So I don't want to work in sports. And I didn't want to work in news because it was depressing. And I didn't want to work in entertainment because I didn't want to gossip about people. So, and I didn't want to work in weather. So she was like, you need a specialty. And she's like, you love food, because I had actually just gotten assigned to work on a gluten-free cooking show. This was 2010, 2011, like before gluten was a thing. And like I come from an Italian household, so I grew up eating pasta and cheese and breads and all the things. And when I started working on this gluten-free cooking show, I was like, this seems like a bunch of BS. Like there is no way that gluten does anything to the body. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to try removing it. So I removed it for 30 days. And almost immediately, my lifelong migraines that I had had since kindergarten, where I was taking a prescription medication several times a week because I was getting migraines 3-4 times a week, vanished, like completely went away. And I was flabbergasted. Like it was shocking to me. And then I'm like, oh, well, people talk about removing dairy. So like, why don't I try that next? And then my stomach ache started to go away. And during this time, I was actually struggling with my acne. So my acne kind of emerged when I switched my birth control around in my early 20s. And then my skin started to look less inflamed. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. So when my producer was like, why don't you do something with food? Like you could be an expert on a TV show somewhere. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. So I'm still working in television while studying nutrition. And it just so happened that a job posting went up for a videographer for one of Canada's like celebrity nutritionists. I was like, well, this is perfect. I work in television. I'm a videographer and I'm studying nutrition. I ended up getting the job and started working for Julie Daniluk for about 6 or 7 years. And during this time, I really started to realize, oh, this can actually be like its own career. This doesn't have to be on television. And I was at this point where when you work in television, you are working very long hours. You are away from your families on weekends and holidays and evenings and all the fun times. And I knew I wanted to have a family. And I saw how difficult it was for my colleagues who had families to be living their life. And I didn't really want to go down that lifestyle. So it was this really beautiful, like natural transition where I was still working in television, but my nutrition career started to really take off as like the television kind of faded out.
Right. I know, because television has really faded out since then. So you kind of started making those moves at a good time for you personally. So now in your practice, so I was thinking to your own journey, you made some changes to your diet and you noticed a positive benefit in your health, your bloating, your skin. But as you know, diet is so individualized. So what works for one person might not work for another. So as you began your career, one of the things on your website that you're really adamant about is this test, don't guess philosophy of really getting in and doing some testing on people. I think you do HTMA, which is hair tissue mineral
hair trace mineral analysis.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could tell more about just that philosophy of the importance of doing testing. Let's just say, somebody comes to you, they've got acne. What are some things that you're going to test for them? Maybe tell us more about the HTMA and what are some things that tells you about their nutrition?
Yeah. So the thing with acne sufferers is they don't have acne for a lack of trying. Like they have been trying all the things and nothing is working. And they've spent thousands of dollars on facials and lots of different, diets and supplements and period gummies and nothing is working for them. And the thing with acne is it isn't one singular root cause for every single person out there. We have to remember that all of us are very unique and what is causing one person's acne is not going to be causing other. We've worked with well over 3,000 women in 15 different countries, myself and my team. And we have seen out of those 3,000 women, not a single one of them have had the exact same recommendations and diet and nutrition, whatever it may be, than another person. So this is why we're really big on testing, not guessing. We're very big advocates. So whenever a client comes in, we always run a hair trace mineral analysis on them. And this is really giving us this beautiful baseline. And when we look at an HTMA from like a bird's eye view, you're like, oh, we're just looking at minerals and like they're low in zinc. So we just supplement with zinc. And that's not the case at all because minerals are these tiny little cofactors that actually tell stories in the body. And when the specific minerals are low or high, or even when they are out of in their ratio with one another, like say calcium, magnesium, or potassium, sodium, like when these are out of balance, they're actually telling you a picture of what is happening in specific body systems. Is there nutrient deficiency? Is there adrenal insufficiency? Is there low stomach acid production? Is there nutrient depletion? So we're able to see where those kind of holes in their body are. And then from there, we're able to go and personalize it to the individual. So what specific foods should that person be eating? What supplements, what lifestyle habits should that specific person be eating and doing and taking in order to really optimize their health?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I have to say I'm fortunate that I haven't had a big acne story in my own life, but I did watch one of my sisters and my brother go through issues. And they tried everything. They did the creams. They went to dermatologists. They tried removing dairy. They brought it back in. It's just like, and I'm sorry, I don't know what worked for them in the end, so I can't share that. But ultimately, as you already shared, the root cause is different for everybody, and therefore the solution would be different for everybody. Maybe what are some of the most common root causes of acne? Again, it might be different for everybody, but if we could generalize, what are some common ones that you see over and over again as to why somebody might be struggling with acne?
Well, then we look at the 5 acne clearing pillars that we work on with every client that comes in is working on these pillars. I don't care what your root cause is. we're working on your gut health, your detoxification, your hormones, your emotional well-being, and your skincare. The reason being is because, let's say, client A, Stephanie, she's a little bit more gut heavy and a little less hormonal heavy. But then client B, Sarah, has a little more detoxification work and a little less gut work to be doing. But we've never seen it where just one of these organs or systems in the body are isolated, where it's like just this area needs help. Because our body systems and organs all work cohesively. So when one gets impacted, the others are going to get impacted. So when we're looking at the first 4 pillars, because this is really where the root causes lie, your skincare is generally not causing your acne, because skincare for acne sufferers is generally on point. So when we're looking at those first 4, number 1 is going to be gut health. And gut health is a really slang, trendy term on the internet where people are like, oh, well, I'm taking a probiotic and I eat kimchi. So like I'm working on my gut health. Like, well, that's good. And we have to look at what are the imbalances in your gut. Are we dealing with leaky gut, which is going to lead to inflammation in the body and the skin? Are we dealing with low stomach acid? If we don't have enough stomach acid to be breaking our food down, we are going to be nutrient depleted because we're not able to break the food down and absorb it and start utilizing it. And our skin needs nutrients from food to function, for our liver to function, our gut to repair, our skin cells to rebuild and repair. And if we're not breaking our food down, it's also allowing our food to sit too long in our gut, putrefy and ferment, provides this like perfect little buffet for all of the bad bacteria and yeast, which again is going to lead to inflammation and acne. And then that other big component that we see for acne sufferers is that overgrowth of a bacteria or a yeast in their gut. So an imbalance in the microbiome. All of these are going to be leading to acne. And then also, I kind of like to also think of these pillars as like one of those color wheels you'll see on like Canva, where everything kind of bleeds into each other, because each one of these pillars. So even though our colon, it could be part of our detoxification system and our digestive system, because our colon is excreting the waste from our body. And if we aren't excreting our stool, which is getting rid of excess toxins, bacteria, excess estrogens, if it's not removed in a timely manner, which is 1 to 3 times every single day, we can actually have those things start to reabsorb into the body and start to recirculate. So now we're dealing with higher levels of inflammation, higher levels of toxicity. Our detoxification systems are struggling because they've already gotten rid of this stuff and they're on to their next batch of things. And we're also going to be seeing an increase in hormonal imbalances. So then when we move kind of into that detoxification, it's like, well, how is your liver functioning? It does 500 functions in the body, including filtering hormones. We also have to look at our lymphatic system, which is our body's waste disposal system. It's going to be collecting all the intruders and flushing them out. The kidney function, our colon as well. All of these things, when we are dealing with higher levels of toxicity in the body and our detox organs are struggling, it's going to be sending the backlog to the skin, which is our body's main organ for detoxification, saying, hey, skin, we're struggling in here. Like, can you get rid of this junk for us? And that's going to inflame your pores and lead to acne. And then going
can I
into—
pause you for a moment? I'm so sorry to
go back.
I think that's a huge point to remember, is that your skin is an organ.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think
The
people kind
largest
of forget. Yeah, people just kind of like, I don't know what people think. Skin is skin. But when you actually think this is an organ, it has a function, it's doing something. And just like it's, as an athlete perspective, it's getting sweat out of your body to cool your body system. And therefore it releases sodium. Like, it's releasing other things through your pores as well. So that was really interesting that you reminded us of that. And that, I think this gut health piece is huge, so huge. And I deal with clients that are IBS, leaky gut, constipation, and all of that. It's these things that your body's trying to get rid of. And if it's not doing that appropriately, then it's in your body. And this is, the word toxin is kind of this hit or miss word, because some people just throw it around and it's like, oh, that's toxin, and not everything is a toxin, and your liver detoxifies things. But it's interesting if your body did the work to detoxify it, and then let's say in the case of constipation, like now it's stuck. We've really got to work on your gut health to get rid of these things that are trying, because otherwise, like you said, where's it going to go? So that I never thought about this of like your skin might be trying to help in that process. And so that's an we think about acne just being this thing that's an issue, but it's your skin was actually trying to help heal whatever this root issue is.
Yeah, our acne truly is an external symptom of an internal issue, right? Acne isn't a skin issue, it's a body issue. There's things going on inside that need to be fixed. And so this is why slathering on all of the lotions and potions and serums and creams and medications, that's more of a Band-Aid approach, because what happens when you stop those things? The acne comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I totally cut you off, so I don't know if you
No,
remember
that's
if you
okay.
were to continue anything else. Do you
There's
remember?
a couple other things when
Okay.
it comes to the root causes. There's hormones and the nervous system. So when we're looking at, say, the hormones specifically, everyone is like, I have hormonal acne. It's just my hormones. And I say, yes, and your hormones are involved, but our hormones aren't operating in a silo by themselves. The health of our hormones heavily rely on our gut health and our detoxification health, because there's a unique subset of microbes in our gut called the estrobolome, which is responsible for regulating metabolizing estrogen. So if your gut's struggling, your estrogen's going to struggle. If you're not pooping, you're not getting the estrogen out. If your liver isn't functioning, your kidneys aren't functioning, you're not filtering your hormones well. So for our clients, 9 times out of 10, we don't even touch their sex hormones, because when you work on your gut and your detox organs, they're able to self-regulate. The body knows what to do when it has the breathing space to do it. But what we also forget is there's other hormones besides our sex hormones. We have our thyroid hormones. We have insulin. We have our cortisol. So for our clients, we see heavy blood sugar dysregulation and heavy issues with cortisol imbalances. And what happens with both blood sugar dysregulation and cortisol imbalances is this kind of has this domino effect in the body that's going to be leading to an overproduction of sebum in the skin, which is a sticky, oily substance that clogs pores and leads to breakouts. So sebum we need, but when we have too much of it, it can be leading to an increase in breakouts, all because we're dealing with issues with cortisol and blood sugar. So for our clients, we heavily work on their digestion, their blood sugar, and their stress as soon as they come in. And then that leads us into that fourth pillar, which is emotional well-being. And this is the most overlooked component on any health journey. I don't care what it is. I've seen it across the board. People don't give value and merit to the importance of our emotions and our mental well-being. So whether this is negative self-talk, like you're an athlete, and I'm sure any athletes listening, how much harder is competing in an event when your mindset is garbage, when it's just completely switched? And it's that thing you hear with athletes that you get in your head. It's like you get in your head and you can't get out of it. It's the same thing with your health journey, where you're stuck up here, and that negative self-talk and that mindset is impacting the health of your body. And we're looking at past emotional traumas. We know that past emotional traumas, if they're not worked through, they live rent-free in the body, and they're creating that dis-ease in the body, more inflammation. And then we have to be looking at also, are we setting boundaries? Because if we're dealing with this chronic stress and we're saying yes to everything and we're not setting boundaries, this is going to be impacting your emotional well-being as well.
Okay. I agree with you. The emotional well-being piece is a huge underlooked piece of any health journey. I love how you phrase that. It's just, we have to address that too. And going back to, I know that one of my sisters and my brother did struggle with acne. And one of the times that my sister was struggling was when she was just in a really stressful time in her life.
Yeah.
She was struggling, literally, we say starving actress in New York City, and
stressful.
Traveling alone as a young girl in a really crowded area, not knowing people, and just and stress. Money, she was just stressed.
Yeah.
Of course, that didn't help to tell her.
It's just your stress.
She's like, no, it's stress. Yeah, that didn't help her. It didn't help to tell her that, because there's, you can't just switch that overnight. But I think with a proper coach and a program that you're following and learning techniques to manage the stress, over time, that's a huge piece. And over time, she was able to manage her stress and change some situations in her life. And that was part of her personal journey with recovering from acne. Fans, I'm pausing the conversation again to check in on you. Are you concerned that you have REDS? That's relative energy deficiency in sport. It's a syndrome of not ideal health consequences and performance consequences that all stem from the idea that you're not fueling optimally or fueling enough for your sport needs. I've become an expert in this over the years because, unfortunately, a lot of female athletes struggle with this. We have research that shows sometimes up to 90% of female athletes might be suffering from at least one of the side effects of REDS. Other research says that up to 45% of female athletes are struggling with disordered eating. These are big statistical numbers, and I don't like it. I'm here to help you become fierce, fit, and fueled. So first and foremost, head to lindseycortes.com/REDS to learn more about REDS, listen to past podcast episodes, and take our free REDS quiz to see if this might be a concern for you. From there, I've got 3 ways to help you. 1, download the REDS Recovery Guide and start taking action right away. 2, join our REDS Recovery membership. For a very affordable $15 a month, you will have access to me as a sports dietitian to educate and empower you to fuel better. We meet once a week for live calls, Q&A. You have access to the recordings if you can't join live, and a community group chat to support, encourage, and motivate you along the way to fuel fiercely. Last, spots are limited for one-on-one help, but I can help you personally through one-on-one coaching, be it my Fast Track program, the Female Athlete System of Transformation, or perhaps Fuel School, depending on your age. All of that is on my website, lindseycortes.com. But because one-on-one spots are limited, I really want to encourage you to join the Reds Recovery membership. We live in a world where it's very easy to just pop online, read an article, listen to a podcast, and I think we do a decent job at getting information out there, but we all need someone to talk to and really ask those personal questions, and also be open and honest in a community that's going to support you in your fueling needs and goals. And that's exactly what this membership is. So only $15 a month. We meet once a week, and you will be provided with so much education and empowerment and support. I know you won't regret joining. Head to lindseycortes.com/Reds, and there you will see the Reds Recovery membership that you can join, and join us this week. It's time for you to be fierce, fit, and fueled. I want to just pause you too. You said a word that I had never heard before. Seba? What was that word?
SIBO? SIBO?
SIBO?
SIBO, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Oh, okay. I totally know that word. I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking about something else.
Oh, I don't know if I said it.
You said, okay, maybe you said a different word then. This is why I'm stopping you, because I was like, what is that word that I didn't hear about?
Wait a minute. Rewind.
We were talking about the stress, like when you have cortisol, that cortisol can create something that...
Oh, sebum.
Sebum. That's the word.
There we go. That's the word.
Okay.
Sebum.
Can you just define that? Because I never heard that.
Sebum is something that our skin naturally produces. It's going to be helping it, keeping it hydrated and supple. And when we have an overproduction of sebum in the skin, this is where the issue arises. And what it really is a sticky, oily substance that will clog our pores and lead to breakouts.
Okay. So yeah, when people say, oh, I have oily skin, it's sebum. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. But you might be having too much of it. So you need some of it to hydrate your skin, but you don't want too much because it clogs your skin.
It's a fine balance.
All right.
Yes.
All right. I just literally never heard that word before. So
well, you're not in skin health. You do athletics, sports nutrition. And like sports nutrition is not my wheelhouse at all because they're completely different, right? It's like when you look at the medical world, it's like being a cardiologist and a neurologist. Like they both know the body, but it's separate areas.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight that too, because if anybody else hadn't heard of it and they want to start Googling or researching, maybe they can put that word in their keyword search. Speaking of okay, so we talked about how skin health is a reflection of your internal health. But then as we mentioned, athletes, like I would imagine there's some level of external exposure. Like sweat, I suppose, is still an internal thing, right? But I'm thinking of athletes and sweating and the clothes we wear and our general hygiene. Yeah. So just thinking specific to an athletic population, do you have any tips on how to maintain skin hygiene when we are in sweaty, hot environments? Absolutely. Or wearing spandex and things like that?
We've worked with a lot of athletes. We've actually worked with Erin Milzinski. She is a 4-time Canadian Olympian. She was incredible to work with. We've had a number of marathon runners and bodybuilders and every type of sport out there. And things that we work on with them for those external factors, like when it comes to sweat, is we want to be using sweat wicking materials when we can, and showering after a workout or after our event, using something like a hypochlorous acid spray. So if you can't, you're like, okay, I don't have time to shower, like I'm leaving my practice or my event, and then I'm driving somewhere XYZ. A hypochlorous acid spray can be really great. A couple that we really love is Clear Stem's Skin Spray All Day or Tower 28's SOS Rescue Facial Spray.
Okay.
And what it is, it's don't let the word acid scare you. It's a very gentle, nourishing spritz that you put on, and it's naturally antibacterial. So it's going to be killing off that more topical acne-causing bacteria from the sweat. It's going to be soothing, nourishing, reducing inflammation. It's really great for your skin barrier. So we will recommend a hypochlorous acid spray because we aren't huge fans of makeup wipes because I find they just don't do a good job. There's a bunch of extra waste, but this spray is easy because you can throw it in your bag, you throw it in your purse or whatever. You can spritz it on your face, your back, like wherever you're getting those sweaty outbreaks. Those can be really, really helpful if you don't have access to be showering right away.
Oh, yeah. This happens all the time. College athletes go from practice right to class.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like, but you don't have time.
I would do cheer practice right to class.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then Yeah, even sometimes even just as a recreational mom athlete, I'm like, I go to the gym and then it's like I have
We'll
to
pick up.
just take care of the kids
Yeah.
all day. So I'm still in my gym clothes all day
Yeah.
long, wearing the spandex. And then I was also reflecting back when I was big into trail running a few years ago. I would, drive out 30 minutes or
Mhm.
an hour to a trail and then have to drive back before I could shower. And I remember buying some body wipes at the time and
Mhm.
like, but I don't know what it was. So
Yeah.
thank you for those tips and
Hypochlorous right?
recommendations.
It's so
Cause
great. And
yeah.
it plays really well with other products. So if you're wearing like a tinted SPF or you have makeup on or something, it plays really well with all of those. It can even be
Mhm.
used as a makeup setting spray.
So that was another question I was going to
Yeah.
ask you. Like, how does makeup and sweating
Mhm.
work? Like, should
Not
you
ideal.
not? Yeah. Okay.
And you wanna know, when I was dealing with acne, I was so self-conscious about my skin that I was wearing a full face of TV makeup to go to hot yoga. Like, that's not the brightest idea
Yeah.
because a lot of makeup can be comedogenic, so it's gonna be pore clogging. We can be
Mhm.
getting non-comedogenic, which is gonna be acne safe. We have a whole blog on our website actually of non-comedogenic makeup. But when we're sweating, it's not gonna be it's not gonna be great. So in an ideal situation, you would be washing your face thoroughly before you're going to your workout. And then this is where like, even if you had like makeup wipes in your bag for like a time where you can't get it off, I would rather you at least do that and then try hypochlorous acid spray. But for
Mhm.
sure, if we can be removing our makeup, or if you still do want a little bit of tint while you're working out, this is where you could be getting, like, say, a tinted SPF could be really great because this way
Mhm.
you're still getting that protection. It's going to be non-comedogenic if you're getting that type, and it's going to give you a little bit of that tint as well.
Okay. Great. Yeah. I just was always on the side of, I was never personally that big into makeup anyways. And since I was an athlete, it was just like, you just kind of don't wear
Yeah.
makeup while you, but then there's times when for whatever reason, because of a breakout or because of
You
poor
want to
body
cover up.
image, like I do want to, and then you don't know if it's
Yeah.
making it worse or what. So
Getting a
yeah, looking for,
non-comedogenic is going to be your best bet. And like, we've had a lot of athletes, whether they're runners, they're skiers, they're doing an outdoor activity. So they're going to be
Mhm.
wearing SPF anyways.
Right,
So
right.
just put on a tinted version of an SPF. And then a lot of SPFs, you can actually get a brush on version as well. So that way you don't, if you, instead of using your hands to reapply while you're out, you can be using this like brush on like mineral powder to be putting it back on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Okay, going back to earlier in our conversation, you
Mhm.
mentioned that yes, hormones can like have an effect on your skin
Mhm.
health. However, typically if you're nourishing, healing root issues, nourishing your
Mm.
body, taking care of your gut, then the hormones should become a non-issue
Most times.
most times. One thing I wanted to hit on with you was the idea of like menstrual cycle
Yeah.
hormonal breakouts, because this is something that I experienced just in the
Mhm.
PMS phase. And it's not a, to me, it's not a big deal because I expect it every month
Yes.
as well. So it might be worse for other people. For me personally, it's, a couple blemishes and they go away in a couple days because it really follows my menstrual cycle, which I track.
Mhm.
So could you just explain, like, is that normal to be expected? Are there things to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So generally, we will see a couple things pop up for cyclical acne. Are they dealing with an estrogen dominance where they have too much estrogen in the body, or
Mhm.
they have too much estrogen in relation to their progesterone? So maybe their progesterone is really low. So those are two types of estrogen dominance we can be seeing. We'll often see acne pop up that way for sure, especially if it's very cyclical. Sometimes, if we are dealing with higher levels of androgens in the body, which would be testosterone, we might see that spike around ovulation because that's where we're going to be getting that spike of our androgens. So if
Mhm.
we're getting it around there, maybe it could be a little more androgen related. So if we are getting cyclical acne, there is absolutely things we can be doing to not only lessen the severity, but pretty much get rid of it altogether. For some women, that
Mhm.
may not, it can be normal, right? If you're getting like the odd pimple around around your period or specific times of your ovulation, it's not the end of the world. But for women where
Right.
it's very severe, this is where we want to be looking at optimizing those sex hormones. So we're
Yeah.
working it on our gut health, because if it is an estrogen dominance, we have to be looking at the gut microbiome because of that
Mhm.
estrobolome. So working through gut protocols, we find a lot of our clients they're like, Katie, I have cyclical acne. It's with my hormones. It's around my period.
Mhm.
It's like clockwork. I know I just need like a dim or like a Vitex. I need something. We're like, well, actually, you need to work on our gut and our liver. And it's so interesting because those clients, when they go through their gut rebalancing, their detoxification pathways, their cyclical acne goes away. So they're like, I
Yeah.
never thought that working on this would actually get rid of the cyclical acne. Like, I thought I had to fix my hormones. And
Mhm.
what's really interesting is we also have a lot of our clients come in and it's never just acne. There's always another symptom going on, whether it's heavy painful periods, it's missing periods, it's
Mhm.
bloating, it's constipation, it's headaches, it's migraines, it's fatigue. Like, the laundry list of symptoms that women deal
Yeah.
with. I love when they're like, oh my gosh, I came in for my acne, but like, I actually didn't know my period was coming. Like, I didn't have any cramps. I didn't have to take a bottle of Advil and like take 2 days off
Yeah.
of work. I have like more focus at work. I'm not like as irritable with my kids. So it's really interesting to see that when you give the bodies the tools and the resources it needs, it knows what to do. Like, your body
Yeah.
isn't fighting against you. Your body's not out to get you. It truly wants to feel good. It's trying to catch its footing.
I love reminding people of that because so
Mhm.
often when your body is doing something you don't want it to, like having acne
What
or
is it? Hate
dealing
me.
with an injury, it's like, yeah, you feel like your body's working against you, but it's doing all of this in an effort to try and heal you. And if you just
Yeah.
worked with it,
Mhm.
it does know what to do. And so I see that again, other just trendy things to say these days are all about balance your hormones. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, which hormones are we talking about here?
Yeah.
And why are your hormones out of whack? And
Why?
Katie, I don't, right. And I don't know if you know this, but in a lot of my population, a lot of athletes that I work with actually struggle with low estrogen. Maybe they're dealing
Mhm.
with
Yes,
amenorrhea. And
absolutely.
so then maybe this is a conversation we can get into too, that when I work with them, I'm helping them nourish their bodies adequately, get
Mhm.
enough calories and protein and fat and carbs in, and all their
Yes.
vitamins and minerals. And if they're going from a place of amenorrhea or low estrogen and then restoring balance,
Mhm.
sometimes, even though this is healthier for them, sometimes their skin breaks out as well.
Absolutely.
Is that just because of the change, like that they
Mhm.
went from nothing to something? Because the something they're going to is appropriate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
um,
It's
yeah.
almost part of that like Herc's reaction, the healing crisis, where it's going to get worse before it gets better. That
Mhm.
happens with our own clients. We're always so transparent and say, listen, this is not a linear journey. We're not going from like point A to point B and getting to the finish line with no obstacles. There might be a
Yeah.
boulder in the road that you have to move around. There might be a detour because you missed
Mhm.
your turn. It's it's not going to be linear. So to expect that there will be a flare of symptoms, whether it's your acne, it's old symptoms you've used to had, it's new symptoms. But don't panic and think, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong because I'm having this symptom. You can
Yeah.
almost say, okay, this isn't fun, but I'm excited to see this because it means my body is working through what it needs to work through to feel better. So in
Yeah.
instances with female athletes, so we've worked with so many where they lose their period and they're dealing with low estrogen. They have, more an androgen or testosterone dominant
Mm.
hormones situation going on. And when we start to work to rebalance and re-nourish, and it's almost like it allows the body to start feeling safe enough to release the things it's been holding on to.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
natural to see a flare. So don't panic when you see something like that.
So I have a client going through this
Mm,
right now. And, when she researches acne stuff, there's things that we'll get into this in a moment,
yeah.
but things like reduce your sugar. And I'm like, no, 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 wait.
Oh,
She doesn't have a high sugar diet. She doesn't. And I'm
yeah.
trying to get her to eat more carbohydrates to fuel and
Yes.
re-nourish her body. And so I'm like, I'm, this
Horse
is why it's so
minders.
good. Yes. I'm like, okay, this might be true for somebody else in
Somebody.
their acne journey, but for you right now, trust me, you got to keep going on the carbs because you have to heal your body. And
Yes.
funny enough, I said, well, I'm going to interview Katie Stewart soon.
Oh,
She's
perfect.
got good stuff out. She goes, I already follow her. I was
Oh, that's so
like,
funny. Well, tell her I want her to
yeah,
eat the carbs. Like, she needs to eat them. It's
yes.
it's the refined sugar. It is the white sugar that we want to
Yeah.
be giving a miss to. We want to be eating like the sweet potatoes and the
Hmm.
quinoas and like those beautiful carbohydrates that are nourishing our body, because so many women undereat. And I don't know if this is true. This is the same that in the female
Yeah.
athletic world, but they're not eating
Hmm.
enough carb and not eating enough calories for the output
Calories.
that they're giving.
Yeah. And obviously not every female athlete, but yeah, just because they're, just like you said, so many women
Yeah,
undereat. Well, so many
undereat.
female athletes undereat as well. And that's why, you know, in this client and many of my clients, yeah, we might, as we're getting you to eat more and increase your carbs, which can include some sugar, sometimes some
Yeah,
berries or, the occasional ice
absolutely.
cream because you do need the calories. And then they see that breakout, but it's like your body's still working through this
Mhm.
process of healing. And so with this client, I told her to be patient, go ahead and do your skincare routine and
Yep.
all those things. But I've encouraged her, everything you've been saying so far, that we are healing. We're healing her gut. We did
Yeah.
a gut microbiome test. We're
There
healing
we
her
go.
gut. We're healing her hormones by
Yeah.
restoring them. And so there is this breakout, but to know that she's working with her body. And so
Yes.
it's going to
It
be healing
clears.
and it's going to clear.
Yeah.
And this is what I've experienced with all my other clients as well. But it comes up always. It's always a question.
Always.
If I'm healing
Oh my
myself,
gosh.
why am I breaking out? It's part of, I love how you said it's that recovery process.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it's a
things get
healing
worse before they
crisis.
get better. Healing
Yeah,
crisis.
it's just a healing crisis, and it happens.
Yeah.
I've worked with thousands of clients, not just in acne, but all different. Before I specialized in acne, when I was working with the other nutritionist, it was people with IBS, it was people with gout, it was people with arthritis, it was X, Y, and Z. And
Mhm.
it's very rare that I've ever seen a single person not have some type of healing crisis that their body goes through when it's trying to regulate, right? Your body, it's almost like your body is a scale, and it's like trying to like teeter back and forth to get to that homeostasis or that balance that it
Yeah.
needs.
Now, is this a similar concept that we would apply to girls during puberty? I'm thinking of young girls in high school sports. Like,
Yeah.
why, like, is it similar? Why are they breaking out? Because their body's trying to establish a new
Mhm.
homeostasis? Like, it's that transition? Or is there anything else that can help
Yeah.
teen puberty focused acne?
Absolutely. Yeah. So while we heavily work with women, we do work with quite a few clients and their moms. Of course, it's always the mom that's like, I need to help my teen. And when we're
Yeah.
looking at those teens, let's look at teen girls. They have a few things going on. One, they're going through puberty. Their hormones are trying to get a footing. But also we have to remember that here in North America, we live in this society that is inundated with hormones in the food,
Mm.
antibiotics, endocrine disruptors in the personal care products that they're using, the makeup, the deodorants, the shampoos, the
Yeah.
protein powder. Like there's so many xenoestrogens and endocrine disruptors in our environment. And it's like, how do we know how those are impacting a teenage girl as she's going through puberty? So we have to think of
Yeah.
that environmental aspect as well, like the
Yeah.
pesticides and all of these things that human bodies didn't have to deal with 300 years ago. It's really been since the Industrial Revolution that our bodies are trying
Yeah.
to cope with this. So there's that component. So it's like, could we be looking at removing endocrine disruptors like the phthalates and the parabens and the fragrances, avoiding the toxic perfumes and just looking for cleaner beauty options? Like I'm a big like beauty girly, like I'm not giving out my makeup and hair and stuff, but I find cleaner options that don't have those ingredients that are going to be impacting my hormones. So that's one component. Next is we want to be making sure that we're eating a balanced diet. I like to say the word nutrition because I think diet has such a bad connotation. Are we
Yeah.
getting enough protein, fiber, and healthy fats where our body needs these nutrients in order to stabilize blood sugar, in order to build the muscle, especially protein if we're not eating enough as a young female
Yeah.
athlete. And in my experience, that's probably the macronutrient we see women not eating enough of is protein. And when you're not, I find for the teens as well, it's blood sugar instability because I don't want to say a lot of them, but the large majority we have seen is they're eating the sugary things. They're going to fast food. They're getting the Starbucks drinks and they're getting all of these things that are throwing off their blood sugar. And we find a lot of them are dealing with a candida overgrowth. So it's because of this lifestyle they've grown up eating the junk food, or they've gone on several rounds of antibiotics that's just wrecked their microbiome. So we really, for them in their teens, we look at their blood sugar, we look at their gut microbiome, and then we do want to be looking a little bit as like, can we be cleaning up the hormone disruptors in their day to day?
Yeah, I feel like teenagers of today are one of two extreme. They
Yeah.
either have restrictive eating disorders, which is
Yes.
not good,
No.
or they're just eating processed food
Terrible.
and because they don't care about their
Don't care.
health because they're young.
Yeah, that was
And
me.
so
That was me.
yeah, and so it's meeting in the middle. Okay,
Yes.
if you're gonna have the Starbucks drink, did you eat your veggies today?
Yes. Did
Like,
you
got-
have some protein?
Yeah. And yeah, the protein piece too. And then there's another thing going on with teen girls and this is not throwing shade on vegan or vegetarian diets, but that's always
Mhm.
another teen girls always seem to go through
Plant-based.
this phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they want to be plant-based and then it's like, but where are you getting your protein from? And maybe they don't yet have the education
That's
of
what it is.
nutrition
Yeah.
of where to even get protein from. So I hear you on all of that as to why some teenagers might be struggling with more acne. And
Mhm.
the endocrine disruptor piece is also really interesting. I remember because of children, I haven't been able to go to a nutrition conference in a few years. Oh, it's COVID and then children.
Yeah.
So I attended a few
takes-
virtually. Yeah, it's not the same, but I know this is old now, but back in 2015,
Mhm.
I went to a conference and that was my first exposure to learning about
Yeah.
endocrine disruptors. Did not learn it in my schooling, in my master's degree. But in 2015, I went to a conference and I learned about this. And I remember at the time, I was like, oh my God, this is a huge impact on health.
Yeah.
And then, but it's still not talked about quite enough.
No,
And even I
not.
myself on this podcast, I haven't talked about it much, but if it's okay to share one more personal story, because I know like with you, you shared you did remove dairy and that did help you personally. Maybe not for everybody, but for some people. But
That's what worked for me.
it's what
It
worked
may
for you.
not
But
work for the next. It's so individual.
yeah, this is anecdotal. So I apologize for not being super science based here. But for a lot of clients that have come to me over the years, it hasn't been necessarily dairy, but it's actually been the dairy based protein powders that they've
Yes,
noticed give them flare ups. And so it's
absolutely.
like, is it because it's concentrated dairy or is it because of these endocrine disruptors or because the supplement industry is not, well standardized and there's
Yeah.
other ingredients in there, right? But that was something that I had been thinking about. It's like it might not be for some people. It's not the dairy that's causing the acne. It was more the whey and casein based protein powders,
Mhm.
and it's something else about the protein powder. I don't know if you have input on that, but
Yeah, we've definitely seen that because we get a lot of athletes and everyone, that's probably one of our number one questions is what protein powder should I be having? Because
yeah,
we're like, I just need a protein powder for the morning.
they just need it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I need. And we do find for our acne clients that whey and casein are very inflammatory for
yeah,
them. So
yeah.
could we be looking at whether it's a plant-based protein or maybe you're getting like a more of a paleo protein? So I know Designs for Health makes a really good beef isolate protein as well.
Mhm.
My body actually digests a beef isolate way better than it's going to digest a pea protein. So it really is
Mhm.
what's good for your digestive system. And we also find that a lot of these whey and casein based protein powders, artificial flavors, artificial ingredients, high levels of refined sugar, and there's different artificial flavors, there's additives. And it's like that's going to add another layer of
Another
inflammation,
layer.
which is going to trigger breakouts.
Yeah. So I by no means want to scare our athletes into thinking don't have protein powder,
For cleaner
or
options.
don't have dairy, but look for cleaner options
Yeah.
and consider testing things
Mhm.
out as we started this conversation. Test, don't guess, and consider cleaner options. And again, as far as being a sports dietitian, I always want my athletes to choose clean supplements, ones that are third party tested,
Yes,
and there's this
absolutely.
idea of what other ingredients, whether endocrine disruptors might be in these
Mhm.
things. So sometimes it's like the whole natural food might not be the problem, but it might be all the other
All the other
things
stuff.
that is a big it's a big unknown. I don't want people to be scared of it, but when you're having if you're fine, if you're healthy, continue to eat those foods, I guess fine. But if you're like, "Oh, I have this skin breakout or I have these
Mhm.
hormonal imbalances or I have constipation," that's when we need to take a closer look
Mhm.
at, what's causing it. It might not be that specific food, it might be all the other things along with it
Right.
in that. Yeah. So, hopefully that was clear. Well, Katie, this has been really such an insightful conversation. Just share a bit about
Mhm.
your business, your program. You do a 6-month program, which I think
Yes.
is great because it takes time. You can have
Yeah,
a skin crisis as you're healing, right? So
absolutely.
you need time. Tell us a bit more about just kind of the process, how one
Mhm.
might work with you, what that might look like.
Yeah, we work with women all over the world. So I have a team of 20 women that help run the entire company, which is incredible because we've been able to help so many women in 15 different countries. And when they come in to work with us, they get assigned to one of my coaches who are all so incredible and sweet and knowledgeable. And they work with them over a 6-month period where they're getting a hair trace mineral analysis. They're getting one-on-one sessions with their coach who are all trained nutritionists as well. They're getting their labs reviewed by licensed clinicians. They are getting personalized recommendations and protocols with the right supplements, nutrition, and lifestyle habits for them, their body, and their symptoms. They have unlimited DM support where they can chat with their nutritionist through their private client portal the whole 6 months. We have group calls, we have a community group. Like it's really is a one-stop shop because we also have mindset coaching and we have an on-staff holistic esthetician. So we
Yeah.
make sure we're covering all the bases for them over that 6-month period. And we do run it at 6 months because we find the majority of our clients, it takes about 4 to 6 months before they start to really see that clearing in their skin that they're after. There is going to
Hmm.
be a smaller percentage that need 6 to 9 months, 9 to 12 months. And we can never know until you start coming in because you have to remember that your current health state is a result of everything that's happened from conception up until this moment in time. So we just
Yeah.
want to make sure that you have every resource possible in
Yeah.
order to really truly feel empowered in your health and have that shift that you're looking for.
I love you give the time for the body to heal,
Mhm.
but the fact that also going off those pillars that cause acne, it's like, is this emotional well-being?
Mhm.
So you've got the mindset work in there.
Yeah.
What you have the esthetician. Are there other things we can be doing on the organ of the skin itself?
Mhm.
And so you really, as you said, your degree in holistic nutrition, you focus on the skin health, but you're bringing everything into it
Mhm.
because it's the acne is really just a symptom
Yeah,
of your inner health.
it
So
is.
What a great way to think about this. If somebody's been trying all the creams and all the facials and nothing's working, we can start thinking about internal health, but it might not be as simple as take something out of your diet.
Right.
What works for one person doesn't work for everybody. You've got to try and figure out that root cause, look at all the pillars to address them all.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a process. And that's why working with somebody like you would be so helpful.
Mhm.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much for joining, Katie. I
Thanks,
learned a
Lindsay.
lot.
Good. I'm glad. I was excited to come and hang out with you today.
Thanks so much for listening, and I really hope you enjoyed that episode. Please help spread the message of empowering female athletes to be fierce, fit, and fueled by giving this podcast a 5-star review and leaving a comment. You can also help more female athletes by sending this episode to a friend. Head to lindseycortes.com for more resources, information, more episodes, ways to work together, downloadable guides, and ebooks. And if you're interested in becoming a guest on the show or have a guest suggestion, head to lindseycortes.com/podcast, and there's a form for you to fill out to get on the show. Hey, there's more resources on my YouTube channel, Female Athlete Nutrition, Instagram at female.athlete.nutrition, and private Facebook group, Female Athlete Nutrition. I think you get the point. I'm here to support female athletes by fueling better and becoming fierce, fit, and fueled. Most importantly, if you need help, reach out. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next show.